Hey, alright, what's up, huh? Alright already. Okay, here's the deal. We're going to do a video now collating some evidence in a documentary manner having to do with the elongated skulls, or what they call over there in England the long skulls, right? And so what we're going to do today is take something a little bit of a different approach because I'm trying to cover all of the facts having to do with the elongated skulls so that you, the viewer, can stay abreast of the situation. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to review a part of an interview that was conducted by Miles Johnston from the UK for a program called The Bases Project. And on The Bases Project, episode number 67, I believe, Miles interviewed me and we talked about a number of topics, including my recent trip to Mexico and also Peru last year, and the blood sacrifice rituals, Ghost Light Road, several things. Corey Good, right? We talked about him. David Wilcock, right? A little faggot. We talked about him. And another thing we talked about is one of my main areas of focus, and that is the elongated skulls, the so-called Paracas People, otherwise known as Homo Capensis. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just kidding, huh? Okay, so let's listen to this and watch this segments of this video a little bit at a time so I can do a commentary and let you know what's going on with all this, huh? That's it? That's it? We're going to do a commentary? Fuck that, huh? Okay, here we go. If there's one truth in the cosmos, one cosmic truth, the truth is, you don't know, huh? You don't know. What's up? That's it, huh? Alright, now. Miles Johnston. Let's say hi to Miles.
Let's. Hi, Miles.
Hi, Miles. Thank you, Miles. It's a pleasure being here, and it's an honor being here. And I'd like to, thank your audience for listening in.
And you've been around places, haven't you? I mean, you're traveling and you're doing things.
Yeah, it seems like I've been activated, maybe hearing about the last 2 years. And so my lifestyle's changed a little bit. And so I do a little bit of traveling and stuff, and I do my investigations.
But you have family history, and let's go on to that first, because I mean that's pretty serious in terms of what your family, did. Foundation of the nation state or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, you'd almost look at it like some big coincidence or something. But I come from a family of pharaonic dominators, and my second book, which I just completed, and it's getting printed right now. It's called "My Family Created the National Security State," and in parentheses, no need to thank me.
Essentially, John Lear was saying that the UFO disease is you come up with a good case, you got a good story, but in order to keep it going,
they're still talking about Corey Good and all that bullshit.
Oh yeah, and these people, we even see this with the psychics, the lady who's the gypsy psychic from hundreds of years ago. Well, maybe she had the power for 7 years. Well, God dang, what's going to happen when she loses the power? She's going to start guessing. She's already set up as a crystal ball lady, you know what I mean? So.
Okay, well, that's enough about certain other individuals. What about your trip to Peru?
The trip to Peru, right? Okay, here we go.
Oh, okay, here's the deal. I've been fascinated by the elongated skull since I was a child. There is the most famous picture of an elongated skull in the world, and it's skull number 176.
Okay, skull number 176. You may or may not know, if you've been following stories about the elongated skulls, looking at pictures of them and watching documentaries about them since you were a child, that although there are many elongated skulls in the world, one that is the most famous is skull number 176. Okay. We're going to get through this story here, and you're going to make some discoveries and learn a little bit about how that all went down. But let me tell you, just kind of as a, I don't know if you call it a teaser or whatever, but skull number 176, I was in the same room with skull number 176. I have pictures to prove it, and these pictures are shown right here by Miles Johnston. These aren't pictures that you get on a postcard or you get off the internet or something like that. As a matter of fact, we were told not to take pictures there. And then the guard left us for about, maybe 70 seconds, 80 seconds, something like that. And in that time, we were able to take at least 5 or 6, high quality pictures, including skull number 176. And these were taken by my teammate and our guide during the trip, Danny Hake. And he's a ballsy motherfucker. So, he took the pictures. I was standing right there. I myself was 3 inches away from skull number 176. The only thing that was dividing me from, or separating me from skull number 176 was the glass, the whatever it is, safety glass or whatever. And so, this is in the museum of Ica. Sounds a lot like Inca, but it doesn't have the N on it. I-C-A, Ica. And Ica is the capital, I think, of the Ica region, I'm pretty sure. Now, the Ica region is where Paracas is. That region, it's also where Nazca is, and so everyone's familiar with the Nazca lines, and of course we visited the Nazca lines, and we have pictures to show you that, of that as well. And so let's just see how this thing unfolds here. I'll try to do commentary. All right, sit tight.
If anyone in the world has ever looked at a picture of an elongated skull, there's a very good chance it's skull number 176. That's written on the side of it with a magic marker. Probably back in the 50s or 60s, I don't know. There's other markings on it with a marker, done with a red marker. In other words, maybe they had so many of these at one time, they were marking on with markers. Well, on the front of this skull, it's written out Chongo. C-H-A-N-G-O. Chongo. In Spanish, Chongo means monkey.
Monkey.
And so I'm thinking, oh, well, it's a derogatory term to put on these people. Well, it just so happens Chongo is the name of this cemetery near Paracas, where, and maybe it was a derogatory term there, because what happens is the Nazca lines, the world famous Nazca lines, which I was at, right. And I personally sent you pictures, you have pictures of me at the Nazca lines, even like off in the distance, urinating, with my beer bottle, anyway. But the Nazca lines, the Nazca lines were created by the Paracas people. And then the Paracas people were slaughtered by the Nazca people. And not that the Nazca people would ever give a damn, because they'd probably be gone 600 or 700 years, but we now know them as world famous Nazca lines, when really they're the Paracas people lines. But these Paracas people were people that lived here. I have no reason to believe they had UFOs. I have no reason to. They are connected with a lot of these megalithic ruins, and so they have some type of technology that was seemingly almost otherworldly. But the truth is, their skulls are larger than ours, much larger. Now, when I went to Paracas, to the Jose.
Okay, let me stop just right there. Soon we're going to be learning about the difference between the Paracas skulls, the Paracas people, Homo Capensis, whatever you want to call them. I call them the big-headed motherfuckers. And these beings, which were physical beings for sure, full-time, 24/7, they're physical in a physical body, just like you and me. They're big, right? I mean, they're not giants, okay, but they can be as tall as 7 or 8 feet, maybe taller, maybe up to 9 feet. I really don't know, and there's a reason for that, and we'll get into that later. But this brings up the issue of the giants, okay, and giants is one of our big subjects right here, and you don't know. Because let me tell you, the giants are fucking real. You know, I don't know if there's any more giants today. I know that there's skeletons of giants because they're all over the goddamn United States, huh? Over there, you know, Ohio Indian burial mounds and all this shit. You know, if you want to know what's inside an Indian burial mound, just ask an Indian. They might not tell you what's in there, but they'll tell you what's not in there, because what's not in there is Indians. There ain't no Indians in an Indian burial mound. All right. That being said, the Indians, most of the American tribes of Indians, of course, they all have legends of Bigfoot and stuff like this, because that's 100% real. But they also have, you know, the legends of how they killed the giants. You know, so there was a worldwide effort to eradicate the world of giants. Okay, and if you think that giants are a fantasy or that giants somehow are not real, I would urge you to discover or to look up the history of, for instance, Rome. There was a Roman emperor around about 325 AD, and when he was discovered by the Roman army, he was just a rough shepherd boy living out, you know, out in the country and stuff, and he was a giant. You know what I mean? And he was. After he was full grown, he was almost 9 feet tall. Okay, I don't know exactly how much he weighed, but this man, when he met the general of the Roman legion, he first of all out-wrestled the general's top men. Then he outran his fastest horses. Then he wrestled some more men and beat them, and just had many feats of physical strength and prowess. It was said that this man could crush a boulder in his fist. This man, this giant, could wear his wife's bracelet on his pinky ring. You know what I mean? A bracelet on your pinky ring. Get it? And you know, this is a giant. This is a being, a humanoid being that would eat 40 pounds of meat and 14 bottles of wine at each sitting. He was said to be able to knock a donkey out with one punch. It takes me at least 3 to knock a donkey out, man. So that's pretty fucking good. Anyway, his name was Emperor Maximus because of his size, and he ultimately became despotic and paranoid, and of course they assassinated him. But this is in recent history. I mean, this was 1700 years ago. This is well documented by Rome, and of course this is nothing they're going to teach you in school, not even in college, because when it comes to archaeology and anthropology, but specifically archaeology, in the normal whatever, you know, high schools and stuff like this, but also in the colleges, what they teach you is 100% fucking bullshit. All right, it's a lie. Okay, I mean, at least if you go to the chemistry department, they're going to teach you about some chemical, you know, reactions at work. You know what I mean? How to set your house on fire, blow up a mailbox or some shit like that. Huh? That's it. But if you go to the anthropology department, what you're going to learn is 100% lies. They lied, all right? Unless you're so fortunate, as fortunate to attend Brigham Young University, which is the university that's owned by the Mormons. No, I'm not a Mormon. No, I don't have 10 wives, including a 16-year-old wife. As a matter of fact, I don't have any wives, alright? What's up? I don't have any wives! That means I'm not a Mormon, huh? That's it. But anyway, what the Mormons teach in their anthropology school, or their college of anthropology, is da-da-da-da, drum roll please, it's the fucking truth, huh? They teach the truth. Can you believe it? They teach the truth.
You know, the what they call a backpacker, a hostel or whatever. It's kind of a high-end hostel.
Okay, let's stop right there. This high-end hostel, let me tell you, it was fucking badass. We made some friends over there, and we had a good time partying the entire time. They play games. They have, you know, all these damn games. There's lots of just fucking sexy people, you know what I mean? Lots of fucking chicks and everything like that. It's fucking badass. And I got more of that. Well, let me tell you, you're right there on the ocean, right? So you got this kick-ass fresh seafood. There was a group of do-gooders, a troop of chicks with, like, you know, 15 chicks in it or something like that was going around and doing good. I don't know if they're, you know, doing some type of ecological study, or, you know, helping poor people find water or some shit like that. But, you know, they were doing some good. And let me tell you, they were doing some good for me when they were out there at the goddamn pool, huh? Because they're all wearing like bikinis and shit like that. I was like, God damn, this is fucking kick ass. You know, you're in a foreign country and everyone there is just about Peruvian, except for these people who are traveling in Paracas. We were in Paracas when this happened. We went there to see the elongated skulls. We didn't get to see them because the storm had closed down the museum, and so they had to move the skulls to Ica, to the museum there. And this is where we saw a display with skull number 176, etc., etc. Anyway, getting back to this Cocopelli, it's a really kick-ass hostel. You know, a lot of these hostels, you know, these rooms are co-ed, and there's, you know, 7 or 8 people staying in one room. You don't know the other people. You got bunk beds, you got, you know, lockers and stuff like that. Now, of course, we stayed in our own private room. We had a, you know, they did have some private rooms there, so fortunately we were able to get, you know, private rooms, and or at least a private room for us. And, you know, I guess our budget was a little bit bigger than some of these college kids. And so anyway, yeah, we had a kick-ass time in Cocopelli, and this is where we met the man. After we were I was so disheartened that we found out the museum was closed. They had the Paracas skulls, and I just started talking to this guy, and it turns out when they had to move the skulls for the storm, because of the storm, they moved them, the entire display, and there's 45 skulls in that collection at the Jose Huera Museo, which means museum. And so they took the entire collection to Ica, which is the big town, which is the capital of the region of Ica. Not Inca, not I-N-C-A, but Ica, I-C-A. And this is where we went to the museum, the museo, the other museo, owned by the Federales, or the region of Ica. And this is where we saw the display cases with the mumias and the elongated skulls in them. And let me tell you, it is probably the most fascinating thing I've ever seen in my life. It's fucking badass. Check out the rest of the story here.
I got some insider information. The guy told me to go to Ica, which the Paracas is in the region of Ica, but Ica is also a city. I-C-A. You know, you might, you know, mispronounce Inca, which is I-N-C-A, but it's not that. It's Ica, I-C-A. It's like the state capital or whatever. It's an hour away. So we went there, and that is actually where the skull is. And we went off in a room, and we were looking at the skull, and it was me and Donnie, and he had his, you know, iPhone with him, you know, megapixel picture, and the guard told us not to take any pictures.
Don't take any pictures.
And then he left the room.
Left the room.
For what I estimate to be 70, maybe 80 seconds. The amount of pictures that we took in that time was probably less than 10. But I've got some stunning. I was 3 inches away from skull number 176 that I've been looking at since child.
176, baby!
Let me tell you, to obfuscate the story, they have right there an entire display that tells.
This is very important. I want you to listen to this. Don't get confused about this. Don't think that I'm going along with the narrative. There is a rule in this world that you're not supposed to see the elongated skulls. You're not supposed to know about Homo Capensis. You're not supposed to know anything about the big-headed motherfuckers. So that's it. But there's a kind of a release valve on this world. Like, if you really want to see it, you go to Peru. But Peru plays the game too, and so they have for the world leaders. And the thing is, they have to give you the fake story, the false story. That's why none of the guards answer any questions, and they have these displays showing you how these elongated skulls were, quote unquote, you know, made by cradle boarding, by deforming the heads of infants of regular human beings. And now you're going to find out why that is not true, and in fact, it's a fucking lie. That's it, it's a lie. Listen closely here.
Shows you how all of this stuff was done by cradle boarding.
Cradle boarding.
Where they would get the infants and they put them in this trap on their head and everything like this, you know, to make their heads conical. Well, there ain't no cradle boarding that's going to, you know, change the mass of the skull. It's not going to make it bigger. And not only that, there's these occipital plates that you and I have
Get a little bit
on the back of our head, because there's 3 plates. You have your frontal plate, and you have your left occipital plate and your right occipital plate, and they are separated by the sagittal suture.
That's some big words right there.
Sagittal suture down here like this.
I don't even know if I can spell that.
Biggest like suture on your head. It's like looks like a kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. These skulls didn't have that. They just have a frontal plate and like one plate that doesn't have a name, but you put the occipital plates together, it would be that plate.
Well, this is very important because Maria Wheatley here in Wiltshire has discovered exactly similar things, but these weren't told. A lot of people massacred here in Wiltshire and buried in long barrows here a couple of thousand years ago.
Okay, Maria Wheatley is one of the most enigmatic and fascinating people on the planet, and on top of that, she is amazingly beautiful. Okay, that's worth something in my book, and she's an erudite scholar. She's also very passionate about preserving the sacred sites in England, because apparently the jolly old English government is not doing too good of protecting these sites, and I think it's by design. I think they're intentionally mistreating these sites, but one thing, they've militarized them, turned a lot of them into military bases. For instance, even parts of Stonehenge, where it's verboten, it's forbidden for you to go, all right? But Maria Wheatley goes out there and she's raising the banner and raising consciousness and trying to do everything she can to preserve these sacred sites. At the same time, doing a lot of studies about Stonehenge and making some groundbreaking discoveries about Stonehenge. And this could even be the first time you may have even heard this, because we all know what Stonehenge is. But did you know that the elongated skulls, the Paracas people, the so-called big-headed motherfuckers, are associated with Stonehenge? Surprised? I'm not. The big-headed motherfuckers are everywhere, all over the planet. They're not giants. We'll go into more about giants later. But they are very tall. They can be the men can be up to 8 or 9 feet tall. Okay. Not quite giants, but, big, big, big. But not very muscular like giants. Unlike giants, they're kind of, whimsical looking or something like this. The reason I want to bring this up is because it's important that this time, we're not going to get sidetracked on giants, even though that is one of our big, big topics right here. And you don't know, huh? If there is one cosmic truth, the truth is you don't know. What's up? You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. What's up? All right. What I was going to say is this: Josh Reeves, the investigator from Dallas, Texas, has made some shocking discoveries, and he's made the discoveries and connected the dots, so to speak, while others have actually made some of the discoveries. And the reason that Rockwall, Texas, let me just preface it by saying this: Dallas, Texas, as far as we can tell, and this is a scientific fact, Dallas, Texas, can you hear me? Dallas, Texas is the oldest city on the face of the earth. At approximately 465,000 years old. That's pretty fucking old, huh? I mean, Taos, New Mexico, says they're the oldest city in the United States and that they're 2,000 years old. Well, let me tell you, last time I checked, 465,000 years is a bigger number than 2,000, huh? What's up? Basically, Rockwall, Texas is named Rockwall, Texas, because there's a rock wall under there. A rock wall that probably was built to keep the floodwaters out, a very tall wall. Why don't we go check it out? Let's just load up, Uncle Benny and Grandma Jones into the damn, station wagon and go check it out. Well, you ain't going to find nothing, huh? That's it, you ain't going to find nothing, because the rock wall of Rockwall, Texas is anywhere in varying different parts, 75 to 100 feet below the ground, below the dirt. So if you want to know what's going to happen to a shard of pottery or a human skull, or even the emblem to your VW car or something like that, or your VW car itself, after 465,000 fucking years, it's going to be about 75 to 100 feet underneath the earth. In other words, shit gets buried, about dust storms and all this shit, it all gets buried after a while. That's it! Alright? And the reason that they don't have big excavations and they're not studying Rockwall is because just by chance or, by circumstance or coincidence, right? I love those coincidences. Rockwall, Texas is one of the most affluent neighborhoods or towns in Texas, where basically everyone's a millionaire there. So they ain't gonna let you dig in their backyard, huh? That's it? Those rich people don't like that shit. Oh God, I hate it when you dig in their fucking backyard, especially when you get in there with the, excavating team and tractors and all that shit and dig 75 to 100 feet below the surface of the earth. And there are many aspects of the rock wall that are uncanny. It's made of a very high-tech material that we are not even able to make today. Not only that, when it's given kinetic energy, you know, the tractors were vibrating the ground, it emits an electrical charge. It's not only a wall, it's a device. And getting back to my point, the long-headed motherfuckers are associated with the Rockwall, Texas. They have been found in the area. So, you know, what do you know? It all, you know, say Shashwan or whatever, you know, the name of this megalithic site is in Peru that I was at, but I cannot pronounce the name of it. With stones in the wall that are as big as a house.
Okay, so we just came down the road. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. The boys weren't scared, huh? I might have been the only one that was a little bit edgy about that. And I was driving, I had our lives in my hands. Confidence was high. I see these cactuses, you see these trees. 120-foot tall trees. Beautiful land. We were way the hell up that mountain just a minute ago. We were way the hell up there, huh? Muy peligro, muy peligro. We made it back down to the road. Now we're fixing to just start hauling ass back down to the road. We get down to Paracas. Back to the Elongated Skulls. The Grande Cabezas. Find out what's going on with those big-headed motherfuckers, huh? We're gonna find out, that's it. Yeah, we're gonna find out what's going on with those big-headed motherfuckers. We got our Suzuki right there, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive all the time. Got this, huh? Got this. That's it. That's it!
I'm the atomic athlete! They can break your mind! They can break your body! They can't break the programming. They can't break my will! And they can't break my spirit! Sit! What did I tell you, bro? I told you these motherfuckers are gonna try to trick me. I told you they're gonna try to trick me. Now don't worry about that, huh? Don't worry about that. I'm the atomic athlete! They can break your mind! They can break your body! They can't break the programming. They can't break my will! And they can't break my spirit! Sit! I am the atomic athlete. What's up? Come on! Ah! Come on now. What?
Stay tall, keep your core tight, keep it in. There you go.
They can't break me! But as I was mentioning the elongated, the people, the big-headed motherfuckers are associated with the Rockwall ruins in Rockwall, Texas, that you will never see because they're 75 feet to 100 feet below the surface of the earth. Okay, that's it. Now let's get back to this commentary here.
With exactly that description of the plate, and for some reason they were massacred or they were gathered together and ritually killed in some way.
Yes, Maria Wheatley, she's one of the most brilliant people on the planet. And she's this amazingly beautiful woman from England who has done the research, and her and Brian Forrester, and you know, there's other people like Steve Quayle, and I had decided that I wasn't going to mention his name because even though there's some good researchers like Steve Quayle and Timothy Alberino, they are people that have these like belief systems that ties it into with all this, you know,
When I say belief systems, I'm talking about Christianity. In other words, they're Christians. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I'm not a Christian, as y'all know, but I'm what you call pro-Christian, right? So, I mean, if they're able to bring about the new crusades, you know, the Islam against Christian or whatever, you know what side of the fence I'm going to jump on, huh? That's it! I'm down with the Christians! But I don't go to church, huh? Because I don't give a damn about Jesus. So, we just, you know, take what you want to hear and ignore what you don't want to hear. I'm here for you, huh? The viewer. I'm not here to influence your ideas to, you know, one belief system over nothing, over another. I'm here to present the facts to you. And maybe you like me, maybe you don't, maybe you're indifferent. But the thing is, I still want you to be my viewer. I love you all. I always have. Let's get back to this.
Getting stuff and everything like that. So I can't go there. But Maria Wheatley is someone who's really done a lot of work to, you know, bring up, and not only that, all the work that she's done with these sacred sites in England, you know, showing the around Stonehenge and these other things, and then how the military is taking control of these, and they're not being preserved correctly. And so it's a tragedy.
You know, having a tank going over it's one way of keeping the public off it, I suppose.
Yes, yes. And yeah, I'm a really big fan of Maria Wheatley and Brian Forster.
So what about these skulls? You got in there, and how many were there around? You said there were hundreds of them. You know.
No, let me tell you.
That another place.
Well, no, I was told there was thousands of them in the building that I was in by the guy who, when they had the storm in Paracas, they had to move all the skulls to preserve them.
Of course.
Well, you know, they, I guess, got to deal with the government or whatever. Well, they stored those skulls, which are now back in Paracas, were stored at the Ica Museum. Well, not in the display cases, back in the back where there's a warehouse that's like 20 feet tall and it's a block long. And it's filled from the bottom to the top with elongated skulls.
Yeah, elongated skulls, huh?
That
What's up?
possibly some being organized and stuff like this. And this was told to me personally by a man, not offering this information, but after he found out what I was down there for. He was one of the guys they used as a local laborer in Paracas, because he was kind of, it's a very small town. He's kind of one of their upper class guys, I guess, or whatever. So to move that stuff. So obviously, in the room they put it in was the room where they had all this stuff, other stuff. And that's why on my next trip to Peru, we're going to try to be under the good graces of some local officials in Ica, you know, and see what we can do to support their, you know, cultural and art scene down there, because they've got a really good one.
And what's describe the art scene down there?
Miles, I'm trying to, you understand? I'm trying to support something that they got.
Yeah,
right?
good. Okay, that's fine. So you've done these expeditions,
right? In other words,
what brought you to do these things?
I don't know if y'all caught that. You know, I was donating money to goddamn cultural stuff down there. You know, because I'm a very refined gentleman. You know, and goddamn cultural and stuff like this. And so you might want to, you know, make some donations to their charities and to their cultural stuff down there, especially when you're dealing with these officials in these foreign countries, or even donate to their campaign, because I'm sure they're doing a great job, you know, keeping the peace and everything like this. And, you know, you got to grease the wheels, right? That's it, you got to grease the wheels. And that's what I call diplomacy, huh? Because I'm a diplomat. I'm a fucking American diplomat. God bless the United States of America! Yeah! And may I suggest Lone Star beer? It's the national beer of Texas. And Texas, as you know, kicks ass. All right, let's get back to this deal.
What drove you to do these?
This is something I've wanted to do my entire life, but I've been tied down by working like a 9-to-5 job and having to, you know, work living from paycheck and everything like this, basically for my entire life. And I was raised in a way, some people even think I was raised with a silver spoon, but I mean, everyone in my family, you know, like on both sides of my family is a, you know, at least, you know, in my eyes, successful in their fields and stuff like this. And I'm someone who is, I'm an artist, right? And so, and being an artist in Lubbock, Texas, you know, is really hard. And, you know, and then I haven't lived my whole life in Lubbock, but I, you know,
Lubbock, Texas is the home of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. It's a college football team here in the United States. And it's also the home and the birthplace of Buddy Holly. Oh, that'll be the day. Ooh, 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 that'll be the day. Ooh, 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 you say you're gonna love me, but you know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Alright, a little Buddy Holly for you. Alright, let's get back to this.
Is that because art's just basically not recognised, or it's just difficult, or are they just...
I really don't know. Lubbock, Texas is a great place, but it's very conservative. It's ultra conservative. It was considered one of the most conservative, counties in the United States. And a good friend, a lady who I grew up with, and I'm not going to mention her name, I'm very good friends with her kids. I basically grew up with her. She was like the housewife or whatever that spoke at the convention for Judge George W. Bush. Rally America to the new,
Come on. Oh, the new
Bush era, and
Are you suggesting that if you were an artist, being a man, is that somehow effeminate because you haven't eaten 6 foot thick steaks?
Oh, no, it's a waste of time. See, in Lubbock, Texas, we're farmers. That's not work. That's not work. You're a farmer. You're going to be a blacksmith. You be a salesman or something like that. And so there's lots of incredibly talented people doing music in Lubbock, Texas, but they're also doing a regular job too. It's not considered. No, it's not considered. But I think that's really changed a lot. Because look at it. Natalie Maines came from Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, let me tell you, she pissed off George W. Bush too. Listen, I've got mad respect for Natalie Maines and her father Lloyd Maines, who I know personally. But when she made those remarks against George W. Bush, which were true, by the way, I hope he's not listening. It had let's just say it had a detrimental effect on the career of the Dixie Chicks, which was a band that was very fucking hot and very fucking happening at the time, until Natalie Maines opened her big fucking mouth. All right, now I'm not hating on Natalie Maines. I agree with what she said, but in hindsight, it probably wasn't the most business wise statements she made in the Europe. I think she was in Europe when she. Somebody they were bringing up something about George Bush or George W. Bush. It was probably during the elections, and she said that we were ashamed to have George W. Bush, being from Texas, and that's true. There are maybe 1 million people, maybe less than 1 million people in Texas that don't like that. Okay, especially here in Austin, because Austin is a very liberal town. Right here where I live, it's a big city. It's liberal. It's the second most liberal city in the United States of America, and of course we all know what number 1 is, and that's San Francisco. Woo! Let's get your gay on, huh? All right. Not that there's anything wrong with that, okay? My businesses are a member of Ally, which is this deal where it's, you put up this sign and everything, and it means that the people who choose to have these titles, such as gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, they consider themselves to be safe in my place of business, right? Because we don't, the only thing we don't tolerate is intolerant attitudes and actions, and everyone should definitely be free to make their own choices about their sexual identity and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get back to this deal.
This is years later. She's younger than I am, and I'm actually I know her father, and I worked with her father. He's given me some good advice. I used to hang out at the studio where Lloyd Maines did a lot of recording.
Excellent. Well, I think we've run for about an hour now. So, did you want to?
Let me mention this. If you want to know more about the Lubbock music scene and all the good things that come out of that, even like Bobby Keys, who's the saxophone player for the Rolling Stones, and just a lot of Joe Ely, Buddy Holly, Lloyd Maines, his daughter Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks. Lubbock just has a rich history with music and stuff like this, and there is a fascinating movie that's actually an award-winning movie that was released probably at least 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. It's called The Lubbock Lights, and it's a collection of interviews, of video interviews of these famous people, and they're that are from Lubbock, and it's well written. Documentary, and it's got it's an award-winning documentary, and it's a film that is put out by Loop 289 Productions, which is it's a company that's owned by one of these Hollywood directors. She's a nice young lady. Her name is Amy Maynard, and so anyway, they released this movie, and it's got just a rich history of the Lubbock area. It's called The Lubbock Lights. I highly recommend it.
Say something. What do you want to summarize
Well, let me just tell you this. In Peru, when I was in Puerto Maldonado, we saw a shaman. We wanted to do the ayahuasca ritual. The cabbie took me there. They had tabs that were like...
Okay, yeah, I did the ayahuasca ritual while I was down there. What's up? How the hell are you going to go to Peru and not do ayahuasca? Huh? That's stupid. This right here is not the alligator skull. And let me tell you, you can get these alligator skulls for $15 in Florida, anywhere in Florida. But they're kind of somewhat of a novelty over here in Texas and probably other places in the nation. You just don't see them everywhere. But it's just one of the interesting little synchronicities of the ayahuasca ritual. Oh, he bit me! Ah!